A very warm welcome and a good evening to Uctv News. My name is Nora Sender to bring you the bulletin. It is a lovely Tuesday evening, the 26th of November, 2024. Thank you for watching Uctv News. We start off with excitement, as excitement has filled the Nebi Catholic Diocese this afternoon as the faithful received the joyful news of the election of the new bishop. During the briefing held at Nebi Cathedral Parish, His Grace Raphael Pomonyo Okorach, the Archbishop of Golo Archdiocese, announced that Pope Francis has appointed Reverend Francis Constantine Ropin as the new bishop of Nebi Catholic Diocese.
Communique announcement of the new bishop of Nebi. The Apostolic Nuncio of Uganda has the pleasure to announce that on the 26th of November 2024, His Holiness Pope Francis has appointed Bishop of the Diocese of Nebi, the Reverend Father Constantine Ropin.
Our main purpose of coming today to the cathedral here was when we hear from His Grace, the Archbishop of Gulu, that we are going to receive a message at 2 p.m. today, and that we should invite other Christians, the priests, religious, actually all categories of people to come to the cathedral and be punctual at exactly 2 p.m. We did not know exactly what the message is, but when he arrived immediately, he started with the announcement. And that's our joy, and that's what all along we have been waiting for. It was actually one of our intentions when we animated the Mass at Namugongo this year. It was one of our intentions, and we thank God that He has heard our prayers. Now what is left is only for us to make arrangements to receive Him and also make preparations for His consecration. I think that's the major thing, and I call all our Christians of Nebi Catholic Diocese within the diocese and those in diaspora, we should now unite and rally behind our bishop-elect and do as usual, as we have been doing always as people of Nebi Catholic Diocese. We have our unity, we always do things well, and this is also my expectation.
Very grateful, His Holiness Pope Francis, for the appointment. Father Ropin Constantine, very familiar personality, priest. We studied at our time, we were ahead of him. At one time we served together with him at Kang Catholic Parish. I was the parish priest, and he was my curate. Then from Kang, was picked and taken to Kang to Akanyo, where he served as a parish priest for a short while. And later on, to the National Seminary local to teach, and also to the family studies, Holland, this was Rome, Italy, and currently serving as the director of the National Seminary local at the philosophical when as their philosophical studies. So these are the few tips I can give you. I have seen the excitement. The mother of Father Constantine, Monsignor Constantine Ropin, as a rector is a Monsignor, is from this very cathedral parish, the Mother Teresa, from Patek. So Ropin is our grandson, he's also a brother, and we are very, very, very grateful for joining.
My name is Ashikani Betty. According to the appointment by the Pope to Nebi Diocese, I'm very happy and very pleased. I don't know how to talk either. Because one thing, we were like orphans. You know, when somebody is somewhere and then he gives you food, you don't feel unless you have your mother or your dad. So right now, we have our dad who is going to take care of us. We work together, we stay together. So I'm very happy.
The Democratic Party has urged opposition political players to avoid conducting their activities in neighboring Kenya while citing concerns over safety. This follows last week's arrest of Dr. Kizza Besigye and his associate, Haji Kamlegea, in Kenya. Speaking at the party headquarters in Mengo, the acting party spokesperson, Ismail Kiria, warned that Kenya is no longer a secure refuge for those fearing for their lives, alleging collaboration between the Kenyan authorities and the Ugandan government under President Museveni.
We are appealing to our fellow opposition leaders. Try to be very, very much vigilant when you are in Kenya. Because it has now proved that Kenya is like now a different district of Uganda, where President Museveni has an upper hand in getting an opposition leader who has gone to Kenya. Let us try to be more vigilant when we are there. However much you're doing your formal work, whether you're doing your other work, try to be so much vigilant. But as far as seeking amnesty is concerned, kindly kick Kenya out of the options. You can try other countries, neighboring countries, Tanzania, Rwanda, and other countries around. But Kenya is proving to be more lenient to the orders of President Museveni, as we saw last week arresting Dr. Kizza Besigye. But that know, therefore, we are continuing to request the government of Uganda to unconditionally release Dr. Kizza Besigye, because the cases you're trying to put on paper, they are not realistic. You're claiming he had guns, he had what? We are seeing your fellow minister is saying that actually when he was moving out, he was checked without a gun. Now, which exact case are you trying actually to put on Dr. Kizza Besigye? Try to release Dr. Kizza Besigye without any charge, because you don't have any case. Why are we calling it an abduction? You arrested Dr. Kizza Besigye without actually notifying him the cases or the charges. He was just, you didn't notify actually the hotel, you didn't notify the immediate people, you just arrested him and brought him back without any communication to the relatives or the counterpart which he had actually gone to visit in Kenya. All the opposition leaders in Uganda, that in case you're looking for a peaceful fearing for your life, Kenya is not an option. Since it has now proved that it is now working hand in hand with the current president, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, as to running away from the dictator, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. On that note, we are concerned with the violation of the territorial integrity of Kenya. Since Kenya has come out to deny that it wasn't involved, now we are asking ourselves, how can the Ugandan government move to the Kenyan territory, arrest someone, bring back to Uganda without any interference with an independent state? So we are failing to understand that. How can that be? The Republic of Kenya comes into Uganda with some officials, arrests me, takes me back to Kenya without any interference of the Ugandan government. Yet they pass through the border and so many other places where there is actually immigration and so on.
Chinda Diocese celebrated the 43rd Diocesan Day with a Eucharistic celebration led by Bishop His Lordship Anthony Ziwa. Now, during his homily, Bishop Ziwa encouraged believers to strengthen their faith and urged parents to take up their roles as spiritual leaders in their homes, fostering the kingdom of Jesus.
Chinda Diocese celebrates 43rd Diocesan Day.
Obwakabaka bwa Kristo kituufu ye kabaka w'ensi yonna. Ffenna abakuza olunaku luno ate nga tukuza amazaalibwa g'essaza lyaffe. Kristo oyo tumulabire naffe mu ssaza lino.
The main celebrant was the diocese bishop, His Lordship Anthony Ziwa.
Essaza yaani oli akibuuza. Nange nkuddamu essaza yeggwe, essaza yenze. Essaza yeggwe nange. Ffe nga tukyali ku nsi kuno tulage Kristu mu bantu.
His Lordship Anthony Ziwa encouraged believers to hold on to faith to make this celebration more meaningful.
Tunyweze okukkiriza. Kardinali Wamala kyatugambye. Ffe abakuza olunaku luno tunyweze okukkiriza. Atakkiriza olunaku luno lumubeerera biwero. Terulina makulu.
Bishop Ziwa asked parents to be priests in their homes and promote the kingdom of Jesus.
Abazadde abali wano, Kristo yakutuma dda, nze nkujjukiza bujjukiza. Kristo yakutuma dda mu makaago, obeere omusumba mu makaago. Obeere omuzadde anyweza obwakabaka bwa Kristo mu makaago okulembera. Onyweza obwakabaka bwa Kristo mu baana bo n'abantu abalala b'olina mu makaago.
Bishop Ziwa was thanked for his generosity and promotion of education and the living standards of the people in his diocese, where he built toilets and classrooms, bought computers and water tanks for schools, and promoted coffee and food growing in all homesteads. M. Frank, Uctv News.
Now, as the National Identification and Registration Authority, NIRA, takes over marriage registration functions that's from the Uganda Registration Services Bureau, proxy marriages have come under scrutiny. During NIRA's inaugural engagement with the marriage registration stakeholder at the PPD Auditorium in Kampala today, officials from the New Marriages Registration Directorate criticized the practice of proxy marriages, which is commonly observed in some Muslim communities.
In a move to harmonize the transition of civil registration functions from the Uganda Registration Services Bureau to the National Identification and Registration Authority, NIRA, the first stakeholders engagement was held with key marriage registration duty bearers, including religious leaders, local government leaders, justice law and order sector, and traditional or cultural leaders. During the meeting, the Commissioner for Civil Registration at NIRA, Vincent Katus, revealed that whereas the government recognizes Muslim marriages, he criticized the renowned proxy marriage which is often practiced by Muslims, and revealed that they don't recognize it because it contradicts with the autonomy and conscience of the two individuals, since it allows one to be wedded without their physical presence.
Proxy marriages today under our laws are not marriages. Now, we have had our colleagues, the Muslim brothers and sisters, telling us that for them they can have such engagements. That's according to their faith. Now, marriage has the tendency that it must really have. For example, there has to be free will, consent. And it is hard for you to consent unless you are there in person. We had things like marriages by Zoom and things of the kind. Now, Zoom, the last I checked, is a screen. So you cannot know who is behind and probably forcing someone to say certain things. So if you want to have a proper marriage, then chances are you're going to have this marriage where people are actually present. So we do not have marriages by proxy.
At the same event, the Civil Registration Directorate introduced an online service portal for applying for marriage certificates, aiming to simplify the process and reduce bureaucracy. However, this move was met with criticism from Councillor Frederick Semwang, the Uganda Episcopal Conference's legal advisor, who argued that internet access remains a significant challenge in many parts of the country.
However, we see it as a challenge, especially where people don't have access to computer facilities, people especially from rural areas where there is no power, for them to be able to expeditiously file these applications online. However, it is a good process which requires probably government and churches to invest more in ICT such that they're able to file these applications online.
And we've had this for a long time, and we told them, if you are going to make civil marriages polygamous, then you must separate these with Christian marriages. The Christian marriages can never be at any time polygamous. That's who we are, and that's what we want.
Council Semwanga also tasked the government to recognize the ecclesiastical courts or marriage tribunals of Christian religions in the civil law to allow them provide resolutions on issues regarding marriage at the religious level.
However, this provision is not available for the rest of the religions because, for example, in the Catholic Church, we have what we call the ecclesiastical courts, which also equally make decisions. But these decisions cannot be enforced. For example, if a marriage tribunal of the Catholic Church nullifies a marriage, the marriage tribunal may not have mandate over issues of property, issues of custody of children. Reason because that tribunal is not recognized under the civil law. So our advocacy and request to government is that let other Christian religions, marriage tribunals and councils be also recognized by government in terms of handling internal matters regarding marriage.
In the spirit of ensuring the credibility of marriage registration under NIRA, the Executive Director Rosemary Chisembo has urged the public, particularly those involved in conducting marriages, to report any irregularities, such as individuals possessing multiple national IDs, to the authorities.
And what I would like to ask all Ugandans, this time I'm not even speaking to you in your capacities as religious leaders or duty bearers. Let's raise an alarm. I know Rose, she has two what? IDs. Because that is how data is cleaned.
The stakeholders' engagement culminated in a demonstration of a civil marriage registration between a couple, showcasing a streamlined marriage registration process under the new Civil Registration Directorate. Joseph Kabale, Uctv News.
Let's now take a look at today in history. And that's all we had for you this evening. It has surely been nice having you. Until next time, from the entire team and I, we wish you a lovely evening and a good night. I'm Nora Sende.